Arizona seatbelt laws. Arizona's seatbelt laws were designed to keep drivers and their passengers as safe as possible whenever operating a vehicle. Regardless of whether there are seatbelt laws in your state or not, if you are in a vehicle, you should be wearing a seatbelt. This simple act can help to reduce the chances of injury or death. There are no federal laws governing the use of seatbelts, but instead each state has its own set of laws in regards to seatbelts. There are two kinds of seatbelt laws, primary and secondary enforcement. Arizona is a secondary enforcement state. To help understand these differences better, we will explain them more in depth. Primary enforcement laws for wearing seatbelts. Primary enforcement seatbelt laws allow an officer to pull a driver over if they have reason to believe the driver is not wearing a seatbelt. They then subsequently have the authority to issue a ticket for not wearing your seatbelt. This is the highest level of enforcement available to the state regarding the use of safety restraints. The traffic violation for not wearing a seatbelt is a lesser fine than speeding, but can still be significant. In many states, if it is your first time being pulled over for a primary enforcement of wearing a seatbelt, you may have the opportunity to take a safety with seatbelts class and have the infraction removed from your record. If you have previously been pulled over for not wearing your seatbelt, you will receive a ticket. Secondary enforcement laws for wearing seatbelts. Secondary enforcement gives police officers the authority to give you a ticket for not wearing a seatbelt, but only if you were pulled over for another reason. This means that you will not get pulled over in Arizona for not wearing your seatbelt, but if you are pulled over for any other traffic infraction and they see you're not wearing a seatbelt, you will receive a ticket for it. State of Arizona seatbelt law. In Arizona, there are two main sections to the seatbelt law. Driver and passengers in the front seat must have the waist and chest strap properly fastened and in place if the vehicle is moving. Note, Arizona does not require passengers in the back seat to wear a seatbelt by law, but it is always recommended to wear a seatbelt no matter where you are sitting in a car. Anyone under the age of 16 must wear a seatbelt while in a moving vehicle no matter where they are seated. Note, if you are driving with a minor in the car and their seatbelt is not fastened, you are responsible and can receive a ticket. Any adult sitting in the front seat without a seatbelt will be responsible for themselves and receive their own ticket. Child seat requirements. Although Arizona is only a secondary enforcement state for seatbelts, child car seat requirements are very strict. As a driver, you are responsible for the passengers in your car, including minors, even if they are not your own children. According to Arizona laws, any child under the age of 5 is required to be in a car seat no matter their height or weight. The DMV gives the following requirements for children over the age of 5 and under the age of 8. Child restraint device for children under 8 years old and 4 feet 9 inches tall and under. Booster seat for children 5 to 7 years old and or under 4 feet 9 inches tall. Types of seat belts. The most common form of seat belts are waist restraints with a shoulder strap as well. The combination of the lap and shoulder straps have been proven to be the effective in accidents. All cars should be suited with at least a waist restraint. However, some middle or bucket seats do not have a full seat belt. If your car has outdated seat belts, it is recommended to get them retrofitted with an updated version to ensure better safety. Why do we need seat belts? You would like to think that everyone would choose to be as safe as possible while driving a car, but experience has showed us otherwise. Somehow, the use of the seatbelt has become viewed as an optional part of driving. For this reason, states have had to introduce seatbelt laws to encourage safety. Many fatalities in vehicle accidents each year involve individuals that are not wearing seatbelts. The simple act of buckling up can make all the difference in an accident. Interestingly enough, even people who buckle up regularly in their own car forget to buckle their seatbelts when they are in someone else's car. This means in cabs, Uber rides, rides with friends, etc., people are less likely to buckle their seatbelt. Remember that your safety is top priority, and wearing a seatbelt is the best way to do so in other people's vehicles. Accidents without seatbelts. The CDC's report on car accidents without seatbelts showed that in 2015, 22,441 passenger vehicle occupants died in car accidents. The study showed that more than half of these passengers did not have a seatbelt on at the time of the accident. The hardest thing to accept about these deaths is that many of them could have potentially been avoided had the passenger been wearing their seatbelt. Even if it is not a primary enforced law in Arizona, it is recommended that everyone wear a seatbelt each and every time they are in a vehicle. Motor vehicle accidents are a leading cause of death in the United States. The consistent, proper use of seatbelts can help in decreasing the amount of deaths in the U.S. from car accidents. Most states are making the transition towards adopting the primary enforcement law for seatbelts due to the steady increase in car accident fatalities without the use of a seatbelt. Call our personal injury team at 480-467-4392 to discuss your case today.